Hello, my name is Julia Inozemtseva and I am your instructor of MAT265 class. Well, this is going to be our zero lecture video where I'm going to introduce myself, explain what expected from you in this class. We're going to go over important things of the syllabus because I don't believe you are reading all the syllabi, which is 15 pages each for all your classes. And I will just summarize what's important, what you should be aware of. Then I will tell you how to succeed in this class and do a small review, which is supposed to prepare you for the first lecture on Monday, which will be about limits. So my name is Yulia Inozemtseva. That's a Russian Ukrainian name and last name. I don't expect you to remember it. I made a joke that if you can remember my last name, you'll get extra credit on the final exam. My last name actually translates as a foreigner. It says from another land. So I like it a lot. You can call me Julia. That's the English version of my Russian name, Yulia. And I'm fine with that. When you email me, you can also use my name, but also indicate which class you're from, because this semester I'm teaching 625 students, and I might not remember your name. I will try my best to memorize it though. Please always mention your class name and your full name, and only use asu.edu emails, not Yahoo, Gmail, or others. These go to spam. So if you don't want to miss it, you better do it this way. So before I start going through our class details and quizzes and exams, I will tell you about my style of teaching, which things are good and which are not. There is no perfect instructor for the class, so your job is to find the one that fits you the best. And I will tell you pros and cons, and you have a couple days to choose and switch between sections. So, my classes are fun. Students say that they like that I'm using lots of animations, visualizations, and quizzes. Group quizzes are fun. You can talk to your peers and discuss what is happening. Students also love the forum I chose, which called Campus Wire, and for the high activity on that forum, you'll get an extra credit. Top 10 or sometimes top 12 or more students will get extra credit if they have lots of points in the forum. I will show you that in a second. Students say that this class is challenging, but if you keep up with your homework, if you ask questions, and when you don't stuck for half an hour, you immediately post your question in the forum, or you find a tutor, or you even find a personal tutor instead of procrastinating or giving up, you have higher chances to finish this class with A. And it actually works this way. The cons of my teaching style is my Russian accent, which is not going away, and I do read my student evaluations after the class is over, and some of students say that it was challenging to deal with my accent. So please choose another class if that's a problem, because the accent doesn't go away unless you hire a professional to fix it. And we do have lots of native English speaker instructors of this class. So I highly recommend you to switch before it's too late, and just to acknowledge this fact. And if you stay, then you have to deal with it. That's all I can say. It's getting better with time though, but usually it's getting better when you're actually sitting in the real classroom with me. And I'm not sure how it's gonna go with online Zoom teaching. That's why you should take this into account as well. Also, when we do Zoom, we do use subtitles, and the robot subtitle does not always understand what I said, which is pretty upsetting. So definitely if you need the reading devices, because you have this ability of hearing or writing or reading, you should take this into account as well. So what else I should say? I always come on time. I do think you should come on time as well. Don't skip lectures and prepare to write a lot. We're going to be writing lots of stuff. Do not get distracted, and you're here, you're right. And this is how you will take the most out of this class and succeed. Because if you do something else during this class, you will not pay attention. I noticed even I get distracted when we have a meeting and our director gives a talk and explains important things. The moment I get distracted by something outside of the talk, I don't remember what he said anymore. So I thought if I get distracted and that's something I'm actually interested in, like the salaries or important scheduling of the classes, then you probably will get distracted even more in this class which you already think is challenging. So your job is to show up to the Zoom if you can, and then sit down and start writing what we do and ask questions and be active. This is how you will learn the best. Then we're gonna be learning amazing things. Mathematics is in general very interesting, but since most of you are part of the STEM majors, which are computer scientists, physicists, chemistry, some mathematicians, but they mostly take another class, and we also have space science and so on. All of you need this class because you chose a STEM major, and STEM major requires lots of work. So when you made this choice, you kind of have to deal with lots of learning and hard work. And at the end, it will pay back really well. The salaries are very high. And after graduation, you know it. Partially, that's probably why you want to do it. Or you have a passion to this. Maybe not particularly to mathematics, but this is part of the deal. You have to go through this. And calculus 1 class is the language of mathematics. What are we going to learn in this class? Limits, derivatives, optimization problems, integration. You can right now take a trip to Japan or China or Spain with zero language knowledge. You go to a conference there, you say, wow, I know integration. And they said, I don't know what you're saying. You write down integrals and they know what you're talking about, and you can have mathematical conversation with people without learning their language. And that's why I like mathematics, because it's an international language. I was in Ukraine, in Russia, in Hungary, in America, in 3 different universities here. And everywhere you can just speak mathematics and they get you. And that's why it's so much fun. So I'm gonna show you lots of applications in AI and even in music, math and music, epidemiology, medicine. It will be really fun. So it will be fun, but you have to work really hard. Homework should not be delayed, and I do not accept requests for extensions if I see that you started your homework only 48 hours before the deadline. If you started it early enough and you're stuck and you feel like you need a couple more hours or a day, you can request for extension. I will check and maybe grant it to you. But if you waited for the last 2 days to do it, most of my homeworks are due Sundays, sometimes due Wednesdays, so keep an eye on that. Then that's not a good deal. I will check it and I'll say, you started too late. There was no way you could finish this homework in 2 days or 1 day or so. I do respect hard work. If I see that you're working every day and then you have an emergency trip or a favor to ask, I will give you extension. If I saw that you was a hard-working student, I don't have problems with that because I can see you will be able to catch up and I trust you. So lots of hard work. It will be challenging, frustrating, but if you like it, it will be easier. So try to motivate yourself with something you like in this class. Maybe a future job you want to get, or some little pieces you like, or talking to peers in the forum. The more you like it, the easier it gets. Well, for now, this is all about me. And let me share the screen and show you this how I will be writing my lectures using OneNote. And I also plan to share with you the link later, so you'll have all the collections of my notes in one place. And this is our syllabus. So I'll be waiting for you at this link on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9:40. Well, I'll be there probably 10 minutes earlier, 9:30. So if you want to chat with me, feel free to just come and chat with me. I'm fine with that. And let me do it this way and close it. Too heavy. So I do have an office, but for now everything is closed. Here's our book, you know that. So we had a very nice collection of videos, and they just this semester migrated to another link. Here it is. And the best part is that we do give you all the exam reviews. Here they are at the official MAT265 website. We have exam reviews, all of them. And as you can see, we have 5 exams in this class. It sounds ridiculous, and that's what I said when I heard about it at the first time. But they kind of justified to me that the 3 midterms, that's standard, and there's a mastery exam when we just need to make sure you know how to differentiate really, really, really fast. Just taking derivatives of this and that, and only with this knowledge you can move on to other classes like engineering 1 or 2, physics, and so on. So it's very, very important. Then here we have all the reviews, and I spent hours and hours to creating keys for those reviews. So you'll receive those keys from me as well. Here's our syllabus, and we have schedule. You need to know important things like tests. Here they are. There will be admin drop soon, so you need to do homework to show me that you're capable to stay in class and you're not getting behind. The whole point, do not get behind in this class, because that's how you fail, basically. The experience tells us that's exactly what's happening. And we have 3 exams, then mastery exam, and the final exam has everything in it. I should tell you it's doable. Sounds crazy, but I saw people doing well. I saw people doing 100% on the final. So I know it's possible. Your job is to catch up with homework and make sure you're not getting behind. We're going to have quizzes. And I used to do quizzes in real classroom. I used to give quizzes on Fridays, and we would break into groups, and then we submit them in class. With the stay-at-home idea, I plan to give quiz at the end of some kind of class, Wednesday or Friday. We're gonna work in groups, and then I will give you deadline due midnight of that day to submit a scan of your quiz to a program I will point out later. Your homework is located in web work. Here it is. The link is in the syllabus. Just find my last name. Basically, I have 2. This is not your class. Your class is over here. And your homework is already assigned. So I will change some deadlines soon, but the first 3 or 4 are fixed. Make sure you go through Introduction to Web Work to see what the typing requirements are and so on. Now, going back to syllabus. The important thing is to mention the topics, blah, blah, blah. Everything is going to be very important and interesting. That's why this class is so important. Mastery exam has a weird grading idea. That's too early to explain. When we get closer to it, we'll talk about more. Online homework is in web work. I do highly recommend you to write your own notes for each problem. You will not remember what you did in August when we are getting closer to final in December. So I highly recommend to write everything down carefully and have good organized notes for all the problems. Murphy's Law, Google what it is. Basically, it says that something always happens on the evening of the due date. That means do not postpone. Do not ask for extensions. Like I mentioned, if you start doing homework too late, work ahead, and that's how you succeed. Now, videos. We have videos from ASU, but I also have my own YouTube channel because it's apparently very convenient. I just learned it in January to make a small YouTube video to show you a problem or a homework, and then just to share the link with you. Convenient and fast, just like the video you're watching right now. So you can subscribe to have all the updates of your homework solutions. That's the whole part of it, like why it's so convenient. Or you just keep checking our forum. Our forum called Campus Wire, that's my choice. And I'm using it for a year and students love it. So go here and read in the welcome post how to get extra credit. Basically, when you post something, you can get likes. And when you make comments, you can get likes as well. And when I give you like, it gives you more points than when your peers give you likes, and so on and so on. The more likes, the higher your rating is. And then I choose top 10. You can actually see it somewhere in the settings who are top 10. Top 10, or if there are more 3 people close to top 10 than top 12 or top 13, will get good extra credit at the end of the semester. But before posting, please check that post. Some problems already were posted, so don't spam the forum. But be active and talk to each other. That's basically our office hours. These forums are amazing. I just finished several online classes with students, and they wrote about this particular forum, how amazing it is. I have very good feedbacks from this forum, and I do get a notification when you guys post, and even sound notification as well. So here I will post some fun polls. You will have a poll on Monday that was supposed to be our poll this time. What are your hobbies? And by participating in those polls, I kind of see who was in class and just how your life is going and so on. It also has very fun emojis and something fun just to post about. Make sure you read rules about how to engage in the forum, because basically it's not just a forum, it's our virtual classroom. Virtual classroom means you have to follow the rules. And I just need you to be polite, positive and helpful to each other. Don't post any commercials. Don't be negative. And just remember, if you're doing something weird, I have rights to delete it and give you a first warning, but I will always explain what happened. And in general, students just really polite and supportive, so just try to maintain this kind of environment in this classroom. It's okay to be frustrated, but it's not okay to be super negative about people around you or me or your TA. I mean, we're working hard to help you. So if something personal is going on, email me. If there is about the class or homework, post questions here. Again, I'm not going to be answering homework questions through emails. If all 625 students will email me homework questions, that will get crazy. So that's why this forum was created. Come here, and we have already first assignment here, so you can post, like each other posts, and get a rating increasing. You don't have to like my post though, I don't have rating, as you understand. But like each other posts and comment here to get first, start collecting your points to hopefully get good extra credit at the end. The forum called Campus Wire, and I already invited you all, but if not, go to the syllabus. I will show you right now. In the syllabus, I actually did give you the access code. Here is our page, and here is our access code to the Campus Wire. It is required part of the class, since we are going to study a lot online. It will help you to feel connected, supported, and the idea of this forum, when you do your homework, any homework. So here is problem number 11 from 1.4. You look at this and you freak out. And you try something and you try something and you try something. If you stuck more than 15 minutes on one problem, you get frustrated and you think that you need to keep pushing it. No. Just stop it. Go to the forum and maybe use a snipping tool. I like snipping tool a lot. Look at this. Snipping tool, you make a screenshot like this, post it in the forum, but don't just post what to do, question mark. Nope. What is this? My question mark. Don't just post lots of question marks. You need to write down what you did and what you tried, and then we're gonna help you. That's it. If you don't stuck on each problem for half an hour, that will make you less frustrated. You will not hate this class anymore, and you will feel like you're achieving it, whatever you want to achieve, faster. And by achieving, I mean moving through the homework faster. So I think this idea is genius, and you definitely should take part of the forum. Students say that's exactly what helped them to succeed, to be fast and finish everything before the deadline. Now, and besides, it's extra credit. You don't want to get extra credit or what? You don't have to be smart to get that extra credit. You just need to be active in the forum. So we are doing this class in ASU Sync. You can read about that. But basically, we expect you to attend the class at the time it's taken. Because you could always take an online class. And online class doesn't have fixed lectures. If you're taking this class, it means you kind of know that we have meetings at 9:40. But even though if you skip the class at Zoom, I'm not going to penalize you by decreasing your grade. I decided not to do it, even though we're expecting you to be here. We're going to be doing group work, and I will see who is active and who is not. And when you ask me for extension, I will check your participation in the class. Still, I know that some people have different time zones, and they can get sick and something happens, so it's fine. You don't have to email me and tell me, I'm gonna skip your class, I'm so sorry. I understand this semester will be crazy for all of us, so let's just assume it's crazy and then do as much as we can. However, did you see those deadlines for the tests? The test deadlines are posted here in the schedule and over here. For these dates for the tests, you're required to show up on time. Even if you're right now located in India or Japan or in Australia and you are at the time zone when it is 3 at night, we're requiring you to show up for those 5 tests. That's a big deal. We post them ahead of time so you know that the dates, you know the time, 9:40 a.m. Arizona time, and we expect you to be there. We decided with our school that 5 times we can require everyone to show up once. So 5 times, I mean. So that's a big deal. Put it in your calendar and no excuses here. You have to be there. We're going to be proctoring you. We're going to be doing it together. So that's definitely important. Final exam is 25%. It will be 2 hours long. So you definitely also will have to show up. That usually is 7 p.m. Arizona time. Again, if it's your time, it's 1 a.m. or so. We cannot unfortunately give you any extra makeups. You have to show up. Get some coffee and start and prepare for the test. Now, there's some help from ASU if you need computers or something, so definitely check this part. That's a new part of the syllabus. That's why the syllabus became so long, because we had to add those parts. And make sure you know this. And then requirements, your internet should be working well, so that's important as well. For the test especially, you need to have camera, microphone, and a good internet, because we will be proctoring you. Now, success is to read my posts. Okay, I calculated I give around 30-35 announcements per semester. Sorry about that, but that's just what I do. Hopefully with the forum it will decrease. With the forum we can just communicate in the forum. But you have to be there. And if I see you're missing, I will submit the academic status report on you, and you will get in trouble for this. So don't disappear for a week without letting me know what happened. It's fine to get in trouble, but it's not fine not to say anything. You have to email me and let me know what's going on. Then I will help you as much as I can. Then, this is a new thing, is XE grade. If you start working and then you disappear because you decide to quit the class, but you did not withdraw the class because you somehow need it for your records, you will get an XE grade, which might actually take away your scholarship. So be very careful with this. And read about all those. Oh no, that's EU actually. I'm talking about EU grade. EU grade is for students who participated but then left. That's the one they created just recently. And then the drop, admin drop. Our school is pretty strict about you participating during the first weeks. You need to finish homework 1.3, that's the one over here. Homework set. 1.3, this one. You need to finish 1.3 by 50% by August 30. August 30. August 30 is what? That's Sunday. Well, I do usually do Sundays. So I will check on Monday. If you did not finish 1.3 or 50%, then kind of you got in trouble. You might be dropped from the class for being too slow. Basically, we don't see you participating. However, sometimes school doesn't drop you, so you have to check it yourself. It's a complicated process. Makeup exams, we don't do this unless you have serious reasons, so definitely just contact me and I will try to help you. This is new, so from the long syllabus, this is important. Since I'm making those recordings with homework and stuff, you see this homework, technically speaking, someone has rights on those homeworks. Either it's ASU or the book owner and so on. Also, whatever you see in this video, you're not supposed to share it with anyone and so on. That's a new thing. Don't get in trouble for this. Don't tweet something like, oh, our professor showed us this. You showed a screenshot and then apparently it was a copyrighted materials. You might get in trouble for this, so I just recommend you don't do anything. Class is class, leave it alone. Don't post anything in social media. Then these problems at the end are just optional. We always put them. Here's the book. I made this for you. And the schedule is here. Schedule shows you what we're supposed to finish per week. So today we just do introduction, and I did not plan to introduce new stuff. Who does that on the first day? I will just do review, but next week we're gonna start limits doing like crazy, which will be super fun and interesting. And sometimes I will require you to watch the topic ahead of time, and then in class we will be just doing problems. Thus, if you don't watch videos, you'll come to class, you'll be super lost. Your job is to watch videos ahead of time. I will post videos and I will tell you what to do in modules. Go to modules and then you will see what is happening for each week. So this week, that's just the first lecture. This is where you're gonna have your recording. Next week I will post more, and you have all the videos here. Look at this. Limits, the limit of a function. And here are the videos. With Jay, he did it with students, and I do have my own videos for online classes. For this class, I will do some YouTube videos. You'll see them as well. And yeah, we have many examples and so on. Sometimes I will tell you to watch it ahead of time, come to class. You use Zoom or you go to my ASU and click there. And you're supposed to have your recording somewhere here. So check this Zoom link and check this. Supposed to have recordings there. Or I will post them in modules. Okay, assignments. We're going to have homework grades and test grades, final exam, and quizzes. So that's going to be interesting. That's something extra. I don't think we need it right now. I also posted some helpful files. They're here: CampusWire link, WebWork instructions, book info. If you feel depressed or you think you need some psychological help, click here. And tutoring options. Tutoring is very good. Definitely should consider take tutoring. And I did point out this one, the Mass Community Center. We call it MC squared or MCC. That's the one that has PhD students working hard, and they love teaching and love calculus. So they will have their own schedule at some point. It's not ready yet. And they will be ready to help you through Zoom. And it's really, really good. Those kids love teaching, and some of them will be your instructors maybe next semester, because they do teach these classes as well. So let me know if you have questions about this. That's all I said in syllabus, basically summarized the most important part of this. Make sure when you email me, you only use your ASU email, not like Yahoo or anything else. And you always say that you are from MAT265, because that's important. And use the forum. Okay, let's start. I'm gonna do a really fast review of what I wanted to know before the first lecture. And the review is about some basic stuff, like some powers. Do you guys remember how to work with powers? Which, for example, a to the x times a to the y equals, what do you do in this case? If the base is the same, then you add them, exactly. If you multiply a to the x and a to the y, you add the exponents. If you divide, then you do what? X minus y, right? Yes. Then if you have a to the x raised to the y, then this is the case when you actually multiply them. So don't confuse with the first formula. So that's important to remember. That's going to be very, very important. And somehow I noticed that many students have problems with this. This review is based on my practice. This review is based on what I see people messing up quite a lot. What is happening if I raise a to the 0? Of course, it should not be 0. Then it's 1, right? But it's not 0 though, remember that. Then what is happening if a is raised to the negative 1? Exactly, that's 1 over a. Of course, it should not be 0, of course. But what is happening, it's not 0. What is happening if I have 1 over 3a? And that's the one, so don't get confused. I can write it down as 3a to the negative 1, right? But I also can write it down as 1/3 a to the negative 1, right? That's the same thing. Again, from here, we can go back and you can say that this is a to the x times a to the y, and then work with a to the x raised to the y. And then you can flip the order and work with individual results separately. So that's important to remember as well. And the same here in the first formula. You can go back as well. So you can go both directions. Okay, square roots. Square roots. What is happening with a square root of a? That is a to the 1/2. What is happening with square root of a times b? That's a square root of a times square root of b, right? Or both a to the 1/2 times b to the 1/2. And we cannot add 1/2 and 1/2 because bases are different. And in general, write down the formula right now. A raised to the n over m is a. This is how I remembered it. Purple n is at the top numerator, but the top. So it stays at the top. But orange M is at the bottom, so it goes lower over here at the root. This is how I remembered it. But you also can write it down as a root A, everything to N. That's the formula. That's important. Put it in your list of formulas. I recommend you just to start collecting a list of formulas needed for this class. Examples. Let me do blue color. Examples. What is happening with x raised to 3 when it's also raised to -1/4? It becomes x raised to what? You're right, -3/4. Did you say anything out loud? You should say something out loud. It makes it more fun this way. So you also can write it down as 1 over. How do I know that it can be written as 1 over? You see this negative sign? Negative sign means I can do 1 over x raised to this 3/4, right? Or what is 3/4? 3 stays at the top, 4 goes to the root. That's how we play with exponents. Pause right now and think about it a little bit more if you need time, and play with it by yourself. Second example, what is happening with x to -5 times x to the 17? Well, that's x to the -5 plus 17, right? That's x to the 12. Make sense? Finally, what is happening with 1 over x cubed to this and 7th root? Since it's 1 over, then I know it's going to be negative exponent. That's how I know. 1 over makes it negative in the exponent piece. Since 3 is over here on the top, then it's going to be 3 at the top. And 7 was at the root, then it goes to the bottom of the fraction. So that's how you play. Do not. Do not. So the most common mistake on the tests is you have a root x plus y. It is not a root of x plus a root of y. Nope, do not do that. Do not. Remember this, you do not play with roots like this unless there is a product inside or division inside of the square root. You can do something. But if it's addition or subtraction, you don't do anything. You just don't do that. I'm comparing it to this formula. Here you can do it. That's fine, because there's a product or division inside. But if you add or subtract, you just leave it as it is. Just leave it, don't touch it. Now, also do not, let's do one more thing. Minus x squared is not the same thing as minus x squared. If you have a bad habit not to write parentheses, I do warn you that this is a bad habit. Parentheses are important. So this thing on the left hand side is minus x squared, but the thing on the right hand side is just x squared, because this negative sign squared, it becomes positive, and it's not the same thing. So that's important. This basically says, don't forget parentheses. Parentheses is your friend. The more parentheses you put, the less mistakes you make. Now, factoring. Do you guys remember factoring? Factoring. Factoring, remember those formulas, put them in the very big table. X plus or minus y squared. That's a sum or difference, a square of sum or the difference. Square the first term, plus or minus double product of the first term and the second term, plus square the second term. Then the second formula is difference of squares. X squared minus y squared. X minus y times x plus y. Those two formulas are must know for the next couple years of your life. You will see them quite a lot and you need to remember them. Do not write down that x plus or minus y squared is x squared plus minus y squared. Nope. You cannot just put square down like this. Again, why? Because there's a plus or minus inside. If it's a product or division, you can. but not when it's addition or subtraction. So you cannot do it this way. You need to use this formula number 1. This formula number 1, number 2. Make sense? So right hand side of this mistake is formula number 2. Left hand side of this mistake is formula number 1. That's the idea. Now, oh, those were not factors, that were formulas. I see. Those were formulas. Formulas. And also, do you remember the formula of the quadratic equation? Definitely, I hope you remember that, but let me review. If you have a quadratic equation, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, then either you know how to factor it by yourself, or you remember the famous formula. If you know the song, you can sing the song. Minus b plus or minus square root b square minus 4ac all over 2a. That's a typical American thing, to make songs about everything. So I find out about this song only when I came to the United States. You guys like singing about stuff. Also remember, note, the most common mistake with quadratic equation. If you have x squared equals 9, what are the solutions? The solution is 3 and also minus 3. Okay, don't forget plus or minus. That's important. So usually we call it x1 and x2 or plus minus 3. Now, factoring. Factoring is something students struggle with, but you review a little bit and it's working pretty well. Factoring. For example, 3x squared to the 5 plus 6x to the 7 minus 9x to the 11 equals 3x to the 5, 1 plus 2x squared minus 3x to the 6. Did you get how I did this? So when you factor, you need to choose x with the lowest exponent. Here it is, x to the 5. So I factored x to the 5. Then maybe there's some kind of constant you can factor as well. I noticed 3, so I decided to factor 3. Factoring means dividing by 6 over 3. So the first guy got factored. That's why 3x to the 5 over 3x to the 5 is 1. 6 over 3 is 2. X to the 7 over x to the 5 is x squared. And then finally, 9 minus 9x to the 11 over 3x to the 5 is minus 3x to the 6. Factoring. Factoring basically means dividing by whatever people have in common, whatever those guys have in common. So if I need to find solutions that when this is 0, what do? Do you remember? If this is 0, then you first set all of those factors to 0 and solve each independently. X to the 5 is 0. 1 plus 2x squared minus 3x to the 6 is 0. And solve for each using any methods we know. Quadratic equation formula, more factoring, and so on and so on. Almost done. Don't get distracted yet. Fractions. Fractions. Oh yeah, who just got some chills after I just said fractions? Somehow you guys don't like fractions. I don't know why. But apparently it's a school thing. Like at school, many students do not have lots of experience with fractions or something. But I will slowly gonna be reviewing this, and you definitely can stop me when I teach if you have problems with fractions. X plus 5 over 15 is x over 15 plus y over 15. But do not write down that this is what do you want to write down here? You want to write down like let's see, what's the student's most popular mistake? If you have 15 over x plus y, then you cannot do the same thing. You cannot say that this is 15 over x plus 15 over y. Nope, we do not do this. Again, why? Every time there's a plus or minus in the denominator, you cannot break it into pieces. Only if it's a product or division there, that's when you can do it, but not when it's plus or minus. In denominator, in the square root, in the square of the sum, those things should not be broken into pieces. Be very careful with this. So do not do that. More. That was one example. Second example, which is troublemaker, is the fraction of the fraction. X over 3 over 27. What is this? So when I look at this, I see that there's a fraction. Let's make a different color. A fraction in the denominator. When you divide by a fraction, you actually multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, if you don't remember those terminologies, then you take it, this fraction, and you just flip it. Multiply by the flipped one. Okay, that's the idea. So x is just x, and I said multiply by flipped one, which is 27 over 3. Make sense? So that's, if you divide by fraction, multiply by the flipped fraction. That's how you do it. Also, do you understand that x over 3 over 27 is the same thing as x times 1 over 3 over 27. Every time you multiply some kind of variable or a number by a fraction, you're basically putting it into the numerator. That's why originally it was over here at the top. And vice versa, if there's something in the numerator, you can break it into product, this something, and a fraction with 1 over whatever was in the denominator. So you can see it this way. Then it's going to be x times 1 over the fraction will be times the reciprocal one. And the reciprocal means flipped. I'm even going to write down for you, flipped. Reciprocal. However, let's see, what was it? 2, 3. If you have 1 over x times y, then indeed you can break it in 1 over x and 1 over y with a product like this. But not if it's plus or minus. That's the whole point. I already mentioned that. So mistakes, do not. I know on the exam or in your homework, but mostly on the exam because you're stressed. You get super excited if you see something like this. And you like, yeah, let's cancel x and x. No, do not do that. It's not y over 7. Do not do that. It's not true. You can only do it, yes, if they are multiplied. Then you can do it. Indeed, you can cross out if x is not 0, of course. And then it becomes y over 7 if x is not 0, because you cannot cancel out 0. You cannot divide by 0, and whatever we're doing, this cross out thing means dividing by. So if it's a multiplication, you can do it. But if we're working with pluses or minuses, you cannot do that. That's a common mistake I noticed on the test. Messes up everything. Messes up your good grades. Super upsetting every time. But you also can do, yes. If you have 15 over 15x plus y, yes, you can do that. Because again, there's a product over here, right? You see this product? It's hidden. So indeed, you can just cancel out. And it becomes 1 over, not 0 over. Again, when you cancel out, you divide. 15 over 15 is 1, not 0. So it's 1 over x plus y. That's important. What else you should remember? For example, negative signs. How are you guys working with negative signs? Let's call it what? 4. If you have negative 2/3, that's the same thing as negative 2 over 3. That's the same thing as 2 over negative 3. So this negative can be jumping in the top, in the bottom, and be outside. That's the idea here. If you have negative 2 over negative x minus 3, then you can actually factor out negative 2 in the negative sign in the denominator, You factor it out. And then you can cancel out negative and negative, and it becomes positive 2 over x plus 3. And the last thing to mention is this same idea here. If you have 20 times a fraction x over y, 20 can go to the top 20x over y, but not 20x over 20y. Basically, every time I already mentioned you multiply by something, you multiply a fraction by something, you actually have right to put that something in the numerator because you're multiplying by it. It just makes sense. So that's the idea as well. And this seems to be all. So that's my small review of lecture 0. Put those notes into boxes. I mean those boxes I make over here. If I put something in the box, that means it's important. And I would recommend you to create a little note with formulas. I myself had a little note with formulas for 4 years of my college life, and I was using all of them, and it was very convenient that they keep adding more and more and more. We're going to have trigonometry, sines and cosines. We're going to have more fractions, more factoring. It's going to be fantastic and fun. But if you have those formulas in front of you, you kind of sneak peek into your cheat sheet all the time when you do homework, and at some point you remember it. And then on the exam, we don't allow any cheat sheets or formulas, but you have it in your memory now, and you feel good about it. So definitely review all these little rules, all those little mistakes people make, review them, and try to understand how something in the denominator can go in the numerator with negative sign in front of it, and all those little details. Try to understand this, practice a lot. If you feel like you have gap in algebra, I would try to hire a tutor really fast, and we do have tutoring options, as you remember, I already mentioned that. And then you'll do good. So my recommendation is find a tutor if you feel like you don't remember anything I just said. That's a little bit scary. Like if you remember some of it and you think like, yeah, I can review it, that's fine. But if you just realize that you don't remember all of this, that's a little bit scary, and it's still fine. You can find a tutor really fast right now to catch up. But don't delay it. If you just ignore this risky gap in your knowledge, it will accumulate like a snowball, and then usually problems are coming from here. So your job is to take it seriously. Of course, it's a calculus class, so there's no jokes here. And I will make lots of jokes to make it more interesting, but your job is to work hard. I will help you as much as I can to stay connected, even if you're studying from home, to stay motivated. But regardless how many times I can show you how to do push-ups or how to swim, you have to do it yourself after this. That's the whole point of training. And my job is to train you to be good at basic calculus techniques, differentiation, integration, limits, and applications of all of these in real life. Because that's exactly what your major requires. And indeed, I talk to many people who work in your fields, and they say they do use all of this at their jobs. So you need to be good at this. You need to be fluent, fast, and you need to see it like basic stuff, like a piece of cake. Not right now, but at some point, it should be easy for you. For now, it will be challenging, which is okay. I understand that. Don't freak out. But at some point, you should feel comfortable with this material, be good at it, and try to enjoy it. So hopefully I will see you 3 times per week, and we're gonna work together on beautiful mathematical problems of the calculus class. See you later.